Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Hentges with Beyond the Chart. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, we're going to take a look at the Nasdaq, some key ETFs, and three stocks: Nvidia, Pulte Homes, and Goldman Sachs. So stay tuned. All right, let's start off here with the Nasdaq Composite. You can see it's trending very strongly. Of course, it's been hitting and closing at all-time highs in here. We are in the fifth minute wave of the fifth minor wave of the fifth intermediate wave higher. Okay, so we're getting very, very close to this whole wave structure becoming complete. Can this continue extending higher? Yes, it's trending very strongly. What about these arrows? I'll come back to that in just a minute. Let's take a look at the weekly chart, and you can see we've now been up 4 weeks in a row. So yeah, it's been up before where it was up 5 weeks in a row, and let's see, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 weeks in a row. So can it continue to push and have a higher week this coming week? Yep. But you know, just like I got done talking about on the wave count, we are getting into the very ending game of this push. Okay, so that's the Nasdaq. So the indicator I was talking about is the high-low indicator on the Nasdaq. I keep this on the New York Stock Exchange also, but I look at it for both of them. And so what is this a reading of? It is a net of the 52-week highs minus the 52-week lows that are hit every day on the Nasdaq. And so on Friday, there was 148 more new highs than new lows. Notice this big peak that we had right here, and it was the highest peak in quite a while, actually a couple of years, several years. And this occurred on December 8th. Well, then after that, we got a lower peak, and then this other peak here, just about the same, just slightly above it, in the, 267 to 274, so call it 270 range, okay? So where did that occur? We go back to the Nasdaq. Here's where it occurred with that peak reading of net new highs, new lows. And so then all of a sudden we keep pushing higher and higher, and we get another peak reading, but it's a lot less than this reading. And then we continue pushing higher. Do we get a higher reading again? No, the reading's about the same as this reading. So what we're starting to see is that we're losing momentum in here as this is pushing to the high side. And when you look at the advancing and declining issues, the advancing and declining volume on the New York Stock Exchange and on the Nasdaq, especially on the New York Stock Exchange, you're seeing that the markets are pushing higher, and the breadth is not even close to supporting the move. The breadth's been very, very weak. All right, so, and that's going to happen in the end stages of the game. Can it keep pushing a little bit higher? Yeah, and we're really expecting it to. This is getting extended and could be very close to the end. But we believe that on the Dow and the S&P 500, we've got some more room to push, but we're going to go through a corrective phase before we get to the all-time highs or the ending highs, let's put it that way. All right, so that's the picture. Let's take a look at the three key ETFs. The semiconductors is the first one. Weekly chart, I show this every week, or almost every week, trending very strongly. It was up another $1.75 this week, closing at 77.09. It continues to trend above the 10-day or 10-week moving average. And this channel line that I've drawn in here, basically it's a tie with the trend line across these lows, parallel and using this pivot point right in here from 2011 projecting out. And it looks like we're rapidly approaching the top of that channel. All right, so that's the semiconductors. The home builders, not a whole lot of movement on the weekly chart. It was only up 19 cents. And you can see, as I've talked, they haven't really done a whole heck of a lot. Here's the peak that a lot of momentum peaked on the indices on the week ending December 9th. And the close on the home builders was $35.51. We closed Friday, $35.40. So literally down 11 cents since the week ending December 9th. And when you look at it on a daily chart, it looks like we could have a little topping type formation going on here, but it's going to have to confirm that scenario. It really needs to break down in here, and it hasn't done that yet. Let's take a look at the financials. I talked about this last week. And again, peak momentum occurred here on the week ending December 9th. And that was reflected in the RSI, this huge reading. Does that mean sell? No, it doesn't. It's reaffirming the strength of the momentum and the move to the upside. So now we consolidated sideways for a while, and I mentioned last week I was expecting a breakout, and it occurred this week. So it pushed up 69 cents, closing at $24.47. So let's take a look at three stocks that are in each one of these sectors. So let's take a look at the Nvidia first, semiconductor stock. This has been trending very strongly. Does look like it's a possible M top forming in here. Now, to confirm that, it would have to get a close below this midpoint. I call it an M top. You can call it a double top also. But again, to confirm it, it would need to close below this low. And it's starting to break down and get a little bit of a moving average cross, but I'm not sure I quite trust this, because even though we got divergence showing here, where did it pull back to on the RSI? It pulled back to a level of about 40, which it's done that before. It's gotten close in here as it's trending and as it kept trending higher. Now, one thing I'll point out on this stock on a weekly chart, one thing I noticed is if you look at the weekly chart, and you look at this 10-week moving average, when it closes below the 10-week moving average and then you break the low of that bar, there's a good chance you're going to get yourself out of a several-week correction type thing. Is it always guaranteed? No. But let's look right here on January 8th, 2016, last year. If you would have gotten out at the break of that low here, then you would have saved yourself several weeks of pullback, and then you get back in when it breaks back above it. I mean, it's just one way of looking at it. Now, are you going to give some back if you wait to get out there? But, you know, you got to have some kind of plan, some kind of exit methodology, unless you just plan on sitting through and just holding for whatever, and, you know, and of course you could always then sit through and hold right through something like that too, if you would like. So either you have a I'm going to hold forever strategy and sit through 2008 and to 2009, or you have some kind of exit plan. All right, here's Nvidia. That's Nvidia. Let's take a look at Pulte Group. Now, this is a weekly chart of Pulte Group, and you can see this is the all-time high back here in 2005 when the home stocks were just going crazy and they peaked out. And you notice how this didn't stop in 2008, 2009. It kept going lower into 2011. I really hadn't looked at this stock before. This is kind of interesting. So here it's been in a consolidation sideways for the last literally 4 years, from the end of, you know, let's say 2012, even if you said early 2013, 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And the average price in here is right at about 19, right in the middle of the pack of this. So is this going to break out? Who knows? You have to watch and see as a break above this trend line. But this is the kind of consolidation that's showing up on Pulte. If it breaks out and takes above this high, it may be starting, you know, a leg to the upside. All right, so that's Pulte Homes. The last one we'll take a look at is Goldman Sachs. And I do believe we are in the fifth minor wave up here on Goldman Sachs. The low is back here in June. It actually was slightly lower than the February low. So this was the low point. And we've had 1, 2, very strong 3. This is when momentum peaked right in the middle of 3. Let me show you right here, RSI. Momentum peaked, but stock keeps going higher because of the momentum. And now we're starting to get the divergence showing up. You see how the high right in here, and we're a lot lower. The divergence is showing up in here. And so I think we're in the fifth minor wave up, and it looks like we've had 1, 2, 3, sideways 4, one more push. Could it get up to 260, 265? Sure. And then that's going to be the end of that 5-wave sequence. All right, that's it for today. If you can think of one person who would benefit from this video, share the video with them. Share it on your website, share it on social media, send it to them, get the link, send it to them in an email. And get my free ebook to help stay in the game trading options. Click the image on the screen. So until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, and trade without fear. Have a great weekend, everyone.